Hey, Senator, thanks very much for joining us. It's pretty extraordinary that the President of the United States and you as the budget chair and the acknowledged expert up there on all things budget, with everything that you're facing, that the country is facing, that you wouldn't be in communication almost constantly. What is going on here?
You know, I really don't see this as a big deal. I really don't. I'm in contact with his chief of staff, with the head of the Office of Management and Budget, with the vice president, with the deputy chief of staff. I've just never thought it was my place to be calling up the President of the United States when he's got so many consequential things on his plate, when I've got a very easy way to communicate with him through his chief of staff, who, after all, used to be the head of the Office of Management and Budget.
But, Senator, there is no Senate budget. There has not been a Senate budget for how long now? It's a key attack line from the Republicans. There's constant filibustering because of the Republicans, as well, as you would say. There is no action on SimpsonBowles, which many people in the business community say was a signal lack of presidential leadership, of embracing the outlines of it rather than sort of giving it the back of his hand. And we are facing a lame duck session, which is going to have a showdown on the Bush budget cuts, sequester fights, another debt ceiling fight, if we're to believe the Speaker of the House. What's going on here in Washington?
First of all, let me say, with respect to the Senate, I hear our Republicans say all the time there's been no budget in 1,000 days. What they aren't telling you is, instead of a budget resolution last year, we did an actual budget law. And as you know, a law is stronger than any resolution. So last year, instead of a budget resolution, we did the Budget Control Act, that not only set a budget for the next 2 years, but set spending caps for 10 years, saving $900 billion. In addition, set in place a sequester that's going to have an additional $1.2 trillion of spending cuts, for a total of $2 trillion of spending cuts last year in the Budget Control Act, something that was passed instead of a budget resolution. So I think our colleagues are kind of rewriting
Senator,
history here.
Let's set that aside for a second. Would you like to see a revisiting of either SimpsonBowles or Rivlin Domenici or something that was coming out of the Gang of Six plus two, some formulation? Should the White House and leaders of both parties sit down and try to avert sort of a budget showdown in the fall?
Yeah, because we are headed at the end of this year for the fiscal cliff. Fiscal cliff is all the Bush tax cuts expiring, and of course the sequester, the $1.2 trillion of additional spending cuts going into effect, as well as the alternative minimum tax coming back on people, as well as unemployment insurance extension running out. So lots of key issues coming up. Absolutely, I believe we should revisit Bowles-Simpson. As you know, that grew out of a proposal of Senator Judd Gregg, the Republican ranking member of the Budget Committee, and I. We made that 5 years ago. I served on the Bowles-Simpson Commission, as did Senator Gregg. We supported its findings. I believe that's the best blueprint for going forward. That's why I put that before the Senate Budget Committee this year. But I said, we're not going to vote on it right now, because we all know what will happen if we vote on it right now. It'll go down. You got to wait, I think, till after the election before people are prepared to move off their fixed positions. And that's what we got to get all sides to do, move off their fixed positions. Bowles-Simpson is a great outline. I think Domenici-Rivlin was terrific. That's another bipartisan proposal. At the end of the day, what's got to happen is we've got to come together and deal with our long-term debt threat. And I believe we've got a chance to do that, either in the lame duck or the first part of next year, but we got to do the homework now.
And are you getting any traction on this from the White House?
You know, I can't speak for them, but I can tell you that the President was very prepared to do the grand bargain last year, and I think he is absolutely prepared to do it. But, you know, you've got to have both sides willing to come together. And our Republican friends are going to have to cross the Rubicon and be willing to have some more revenue. Because if you look at our current circumstance, revenue right now is at or near a 60-year low as a share of our national income. Spending is at or near a 60-year high. So we got to deal with both sides of the equation. Most of our Republican friends, most of them, not all, say, no, you only deal on the spending side of the equation. That's not going to work. You're going to have both sides move off fixed positions.
We're going to have to leave it there. Senator, thank you very much. Budget Chairman Ken Conrad.